What's up, everybody? Welcome to Can You Take It Podcast, Episode 3. The only podcast that asks its audience, can you take it? Can you take listening to us for another week? That's the real question, but thanks for tuning in. With us today, I've got Jonathan.
Hey.
Brandon.
Hi.
And Adam.
Hi. Hi.
What's been going on with you guys this week? Anything interesting?
Well, we got to do the cool Attic Memories video this week.
Yes, the first part of that was posted on Friday and covered the comics and comic card arena of collectibles. And
my entirely worthless collection. I was very happy to go through that, but that was a lot of fun.
It was a big collection, though.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of stuff.
There was a lot of stuff, and honestly, some of the things we found in there led to some of the topics we'll be talking about today.
Even if it was worthless, it was fun. It's fun touching it and going through it again. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the main things that me and Jonathan talked about this week. Me and Jonathan work together, by the way, so 6 days out of the week, sometimes we see each other, so we have lots of time to talk.
And there's just never enough time, really. Sometimes I sit at home and go, Dan's not here, this is weird.
I doubt that ever happens. Usually you just thank God I'm not there.
There's a lot of sexual tension across the table.
So one of the things we talked about this week that I thought would be a great topic, we're all opinionated on and hopefully all well viewed, is the Alien franchise. I thought we would talk about those today, maybe as our first topic. The first 4 films as well as Prometheus. So for this topic, I went and watched Alien Resurrection, which I had never watched before. Okay. Although I've owned it on DVD and Blu-ray, I've never watched it until yesterday for the first time.
Pleasantly surprised?
No.
What?
Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Okay, so do we want to start with Alien Resurrection? We can. That's fine with me. So it's obviously a franchise at this point that is pulling on some of the same tropes we've seen in the series. The most outstanding and cool parts are probably the mad scientist stuff as far as the labs of failed experiments that were performed. But overall, the cast of characters was fairly unoriginal and didn't get me very excited. I didn't really care about them. I thought Winona Ryder was horrible, and even the reveal that she's a robot didn't make up for the fact that she was horrible, because she just didn't do a good job. And Sigourney Weaver I thought was pointless in the whole story. And then once I saw she was an executive producer and did some research on that, it kind of made sense to me. Not that I dislike Sigourney Weaver, I do, I like her, but as a franchise, you could just see them. And some things don't make sense. You guys may know more about aliens. Why do these aliens look and walk like raptors when they came out of human beings? They have low, flat feet that bend up into legs, and they walk like raptors.
Yeah.
They do not stand up like the original Alien, but they came out of people.
Well, I think with any series, you get into the position to where they quit thinking about those level of details. They just want something that looks cool or is different. They want to establish their own take on the series. So they don't think about this one has a human host, whereas in the Alien 3, it had a dog or I think
ran
one
on
of the
4
cuts,
legs.
like a cow or a bull host or something.
Yeah, you're right. In one of the director's cut, I think it comes out of a cow. It's different.
So, but they wanted one that ran on all 4s. So that
I think they were trying to cash in on the Jurassic Park thing, really.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of like Godzilla, the Godzilla.
Right, Godzilla. How many people did that? Just like, it gets so tedious and tiresome when people see a really successful franchise and they find, how can we cash in? How can we have the exact same approach? And raptors were just like the big... I mean, who was into dinosaurs as kids before Jurassic Park even knew what raptors were?
Nobody.
T-Rex was T-Rex,
Stegosaurus, Triceratops,
Brontosaurus, and maybe pterodactyl, which was from a different era entirely. But as soon as those Raptors became mainstream.
Can you do me a
everybody
favor? And I know our listeners are dying to know what era that from. Just spend about 20 minutes talking about the different eras of fucking paleontology over there. Right?
Well, you see, during the late Cretaceous period,
Didn't know we had Dr. Grant with us here today. Thank you, sir.
I did wear my raptor claw necklace today for the podcast.
But I think maybe the thought was that because the weird walking, not a humanoid style walking, it would be scarier. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Maybe.
lends itself to unpredictability or like, you know,
The
accelerated
original
movement.
alien from the waist up is really cool, but if you in the film when you do see him standing full head to toe, he look awkward. He looks like he doesn't move very well or efficiently. It doesn't look like something that could just jump up on the wall and then get you from above. It looks like it looked like a very cumbersome basketball player, which it was just a really tall guy. But the head was so amazing, and just you had never seen anything quite like that Giger style, and it was like a lot of people describe it, disgustingly beautiful. It was very erotic and
Well, the Giger artwork is very entwined with sexuality.
Yeah, for sure.
All of his artwork, if you look back, is all about like genitalia and human sexuality, and that's, I think, a lot of the design of the head was
Phallic.
Phallic.
Yeah,
definitely.
well,
Phallic.
and all of Geiger's stuff kind of is forward thinking in the way that he's seeing that future symbiosis between humanity and mechanical interfaces.
Right.
So the biomechanical unison, looking ahead of that, and I think that is where we're headed in the future.
No, most definitely.
That's going to be the next big schism in humanity. Versus, it's either for years it's been where you live or what race you are, and there's been these lines drawn. Once all that stuff goes away with all the melting pot cultures, it's going to be, are you modified or unmodified human? That's gonna
Deus
be the
Ex is
next
coming.
That's right.
The future.
If Skynet doesn't hit first.
The future is here, Mr. Burton.
See, a bomb.
So, being the only one I'd never seen, I guess I probably have a fresher opinion on it than the others. But within the past 2 years, I've watched all of the films again because of the Blu-ray release. And if we could start with the first one, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it because I doubt there's much debate, especially around the first two films, on how good they are. The first one is just an atmospheric classic, but one of the things that maybe sometimes gets overlooked about the first one is how great the cast is. Mm-hmm. You've got Harry Dean Stanton, you got Yaphet Kotto, Ian Holm. You've got some of these actors who are just the best, and they were a collection of character actors, but some of the best in that craft. So they brought a lot to it. The alien itself, and then the director Ridley Scott was one of his first examples of how well he could create a universe.
Well, how often do you look at movies that are somewhat in the horror genre where delaying the introduction of the main adversary makes the movie great? And how many people never learn from that lesson.
Right.
And in the sequel or in the future, they introduce the bad guy within 5 minutes.
Right.
So you have like Jaws or something like that, where there's this huge build up to when are we going to see it. We'll get a little glimpse. And even the new Godzilla remake did that.
Did a good job of that.
Yeah, but then, inevitably someone takes the reins from most of these franchises, and 5 minutes in, here he is.
Well, they know what he looks like, but they don't go for that build up.
Right. And the build up, it's with anything. This is a segue, but that new Silent Hill game that's coming out, and they have that demo on PS4 called PT.
Yeah.
And I've just watched the YouTube clips because I don't have a PS4 yet, but it's like very little happens. You just keep exploring the same L-shaped corridor over and over, and it keeps cycling little changes each time. But it's not knowing when something's finally going to come out, what's going to happen, that builds tension.
Right.
And so many people don't understand that, and they just throw something creepy immediately right out, 3 seconds in. That's not scary.
Well,
you haven't built any tension.
I think the Alien franchise stuck to that pretty well all
did.
the way up to the fourth one. There was a good delay before you got to see what you even knew was coming. But the first film really built up the suspense, but it wasn't just the suspense of the creature. It was the table scene where they're eating dinner and they sort of they what would be the word? They make you feel comfortable as an audience member.
Yeah, they're
that
relaxing,
he's okay.
and you're right there with
You're
them
relaxing
in their ups and downs.
And then they just punch you in the face with one of the most disgusting, awesome
That's John
scenes.
Hurt, right?
And
Yes.
they mirrored that scene in Sunshine. I don't know if you saw the Danny Boyle film
I did.
Sunshine, where they had the dinner and they're all sitting around, and
Right.
you didn't know that all these people were about to
Yeah, something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
And then once it does, it moves at a really good pace. It follows the slasher genre of picking off your main cast as you go in different ways, and you never know who's going to get hit. But overall, great movie. I don't think we have a ton to debate about that one. The second one I know two of you love.
Oh yeah, the
Nostalgically.
But that was, I didn't have a lot. I didn't watch tons of movies when I was a kid, but that was one of the films that my dad had on VHS that he'd like recorded off HBO or something years ago. And so I watched Aliens like tons more than I watched Alien.
Yeah.
I think actually I saw Aliens before I even saw Alien. And then I went back and watched them, yeah.
That's the same for me. I've seen Aliens so many times, and it still just holds up so well to this day. And it was a pretty rushed schedule from what I believe. I think who's the guy who did the score?
James Horner?
Yeah, he did it. He put it together in like 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. And I mean, the budget was like 20 million, 25 million. It wasn't a very big budget.
No, I know for a fact they had
amazing.
They had about total of 7 alien suits, and they utilized those 7 suits so well that you thought there were hundreds of aliens in the film.
Absolutely right.
And the animatronic puppet alien that comes out of the water is one of the coolest special effects sequences in film history.
It's such a testament to how good practical effects are. And why you do not need computer effects to make an amazing movie.
Yeah. I mean, it just gets right down to it. You've got a little bit of build up there with Ripley, and then you're going back. Hey, we're going back. And see, that's the thing where Cameron played on your knowledge of the first one. So you know that alien killed all those people. But what Cameron does is he says, what if there's hundreds of them?
Yeah.
And we're not going to show them to you.
She's the only one who has experience.
And nobody really cares. And these guys are so confident. These badass Marines are so confident. And she's telling them, this isn't going to turn out well. And so you, knowing that first film, you don't even have to see the alien, but you have this feeling of dread that is like, whoa,
that's
this ain't
only
good.
shared by Ripley's character. Right. Everybody else is just kind of dismissive of her. And that's very true with anything in society where you have someone who comes in and they're a supposed expert on something, and people are just really dismissive of it if they haven't seen it firsthand. Like if you met someone, I know there's a Bigfoot out there, or I know there's this alien out there.
And it's
good.
I was going to say, it's a story about maternity.
Yeah.
It's a mother fighting for her child.
Yeah.
Right.
Ripley fights for Newt. The alien queen fights for her children. And it's a battle for your children.
But what I was going to say was that is one of my biggest problems with Aliens, even though I love it so much, that it commits, like, to me, one of the ultimate sins when I watch, like, war movies is people acting in ways that they typically wouldn't act, like, for how they're trained. So, like, the captain or whatever that's actually taking them into the, it's like his first drop. And all, and it's like the Marines wouldn't do that in real life. You know, it's like he's gonna have all this combat experience before he's on that level of, power. And then he's so green, and he just. Whereas everyone else in the film actually acts pretty smart about how they don't turn in their clips and they actually fight the aliens. And that's why Predator, I think, is so good. No one goes out like a bitch in Predator.
Right.
Everyone is badass, just Predator is a badder ass,
That's true. Yeah. I think the film is just a testament to how to make a sequel.
Yeah.
It's one of the best sequels of all time. It upped the game, but at the same time, it made the first one still just as powerful. There's nothing taken away from the first one.
Not at all.
Which is my problem with the third one. You start the movie immediately taking everything away from the second one.
Yeah, kill everybody off but Ripley.
It removes all of the power, all of the impact of the film, and it automatically sets you off as an audience member as to being annoyed. The producers and the directors showed themselves. Rather than coming up with a creative way to reintroduce Ripley into a story, they, in my opinion, say, well, we can't get the actors back, just kill the characters. And
when I was watching them straight through, when you got me the Blu-ray box set, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and the first thing she said when we started 3 is like, "Where's Newt? They killed Newt?
Right,
No!"
How much more powerful for women that you get to watch the movies? They're way more attached, I think. From that, like Brandon said, that maternal instinct of
And they
it,
move into a
just
movie
dead.
with all men.
Right.
There's all
and
these
even though
men.
all men, Sigourney Weaver kind of carries the entire movie by herself.
Well, I think what they kind of wanted to do was make you think, well, Ripley's not just got to worry about the alien. She's on this planet with these prisoners. And, you know, they tried to make that as a play, like, well, she's not only fearful of that, but she's fearful of them. And the third one, I think, is the one that we debate a lot about, because you hear people say, you go back and watch it. Dustin has said it a million times. Go to the director's cut, changes it, man. It makes it a good movie. No, it doesn't. And I will state right here that my opinion of the third one is I have gone back and watched it probably 3 times expecting to find that hidden gem. And it's never there.
No, it really isn't there. It's on its own, it's not a bad movie, and other than the wiping people out initially, it has some good moments, but it's such a step down from the high mark of the first two. And like we said, the second one's such a testament to practical effects. You get into the third one, they started introducing, you know, compositing and
looks like garbage.
CG effect, and like the alien on all fours is a cool novel idea.
If he wasn't reflecting the green screen off the top of his head.
Right.
Yeah, that's
like the
terrible.
most standout part with the alien is when, you know, it's right up on Ripley in that scene one on one. That looks fantastic.
Right.
But the rest of it is just, you know, you don't really care about most of the characters because they're, you know, lifers in prison for horrible acts. So it's like you don't sympathize.
How long has it been since you've seen it, Adam?
Probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay, you know the doctor in there.
Yeah.
That's Tywin Lannister.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's true. That's true.
As soon as you see him, it's like, it's Tywin. And he's a likable character. He is. They kill him, and it was kind of annoying.
They kill him pretty quickly, like faster than you think.
Especially in the theatrical cut, they get him. And the alien's really not in the movie very much. He's not in the movie very much. He's not a big part of it, yet you really don't care. It reminded me of like a poorly done Terry Gilliam film. Like, just like wet corridors and kind of like a future that's like industrial but kind of broken down, but it's just not
Yeah, it reminds me of it's like a 90s music video, like a 90s like 9 Inch Nails.
Let's have Tool or 9 Inch Nails.
Tool,
I wish Tool would have done the music for it.
But
that would have been awesome.
It's that whole technology and decay future. It's that, you know, cyberpunk, everything.
Which I like.
Right. But
this one doesn't do it.
Pull it off.
I think that when you say it's not a bad movie, I think that's your reaction to how well the sets look, how much money they spent on creating an awesome looking environment and then filling it with fairly unlikable characters.
It's one of those things that, like I said, aside from killing off the other characters immediately, they have some good ideas in there. You know, they're on this prison colony, so like you said, she has the adversaries outside the alien. There's also the fact that it's a prison colony. There's no weapons in place, really. So there's all these things that sound good on paper, but the execution is very poor.
Yeah. It's really a lackluster film, and I can see why Fincher took his name off the original cut.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to really be a part of it.
Yeah, Fincher, I love most of David Fincher's movies, but this one's not high up on the list.
And I don't know that it's his fault.
No, right.
You know, when you're dealing with a franchise and you're dealing with the producers. And I think this was another case of Sigourney Weaver having some demands about the third film. And I have a feeling we'll talk about that here with the fourth one. But I guess just to wrap up the third one, it's definitely worth a watch. But it really, the first one and the second one, no matter how bleak and horror they have, they're fun. And the third one's just not fun. There's nothing fun about it. There's nothing
Even
optimistic.
Resurrection's fun.
Exactly.
It's very
you're
fun
right about
for what
that.
it is.
I will say Resurrection I like more than the third one.
I think I probably do too. But what I was talking about the other day, compared to other franchises, the Alien films are almost like standalone films. It's hard to watch them all in a, like when I watch them all in a row, they have the same tropes, but they're all very, very different films. You know, and they all play in different genres and they play in different decades most of the time. Right. You know, they're all they're all very of that moment when that film was made.
The director has a heavy influence on the style of the films. And that's one thing you can say is that the producers generally gave the director the freedom to do some different stuff. And pays off, because even though we don't like the third one, we all like the style. We kind of like the way it looks.
Tell me y'all's opinion of this. I have a pretty strong opinion that no matter how fantastic a director is, I think certain directors excel in different decades. And no matter how perfect or how great you think that director could be, they eventually reach a time period where it doesn't work with their style.
Yes,
I
his
thought
name is
James
Ridley
Cameron,
Scott.
Yeah, I
Talking
didn't
about
think
this,
James
Ridley
Cameron could
Scott
do a
is
bad
not
film.
good now.
I didn't think Cameron would make a bad movie.
I
Until
don't know.
Avatar.
I don't know
I would
that-
disagree with that. I would disagree with Ridley Scott, and I would disagree with Martin Scorsese.
I would disagree with David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
I would disagree with lots of people. Here's what I think you're coming to the conclusion of.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with the decade. It has to do with how much money they make.
Okay, very true.
As soon as they get money, a lot of people lose that
no
drive.
one says no to them anymore.
Exactly.
Lucas is such
Cameron,
a good example.
Lucas,
Spielberg is a good
Spielberg,
example.
Indiana Jones is a perfect example of no one saying no, and it just became this.
Great idea, Mr. Lucas. Let's do that.
Exactly. I mean, if
Goongas.
we're not going to get into this,
Boston Ass will be the most
we'll
compelling
save this
character.
for another day. But the Star Wars prequels are just a George Lucas allowed to do whatever he wants, and that should never be allowed to happen because it's horrible. And I think Ridley Scott may be what made you think of this.
Well, I was more thinking Cameron because I thought all his stuff was so good in the 80s and 90s. And,
But all that's ever he's done bad is Avatar.
right.
And it was just
But there
liked
was
so
such-
much that
and
it
there was-
pisses you off.
No,
It's such a piece of shit, and people acted like it was awesome, and it's a piece of garbage.
well, not just that, but the fact of how long you had to, because he did Titanic
Yeah.
in what, 97, 98?
And say what you will about Titanic, you
Oh,
can't
it's-
really
it-
knock
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know,
it's
I
a-
don't
it's-
even know that I've ever watched it all the way through,
Right.
other than being on TV. And I don't want to watch it, but I'm not going to knock the dude. It's a kick-ass movie.
It's a
Right.
good movie.
Yeah.
Very well done. But
And-
what's the gap between that and Avatar? 13, 14 years?
Long time. He kept going underwater all the time.
Yeah, he was too
That's
busy
what happened. It
in the
affected
Marianas
his brain.
Trench, yeah. The
Too much
Marianas
pressure on the
Trench.
brain.
Well,
Got
didn't
the
some South
bands.
Park did
Oh, yeah,
it? Then
James
he
Cameron
went.
saves everything.
He went down to the bottom of the ocean and like something affected him and changed him when he went down there and saw something. I think he saw like the Pacific Rim monsters or something down there. But yeah, I think the third Alien movie, that guy went on to do something great. The second Alien movie, that guy went on to do even bigger stuff.
Yeah.
The first one, even bigger stuff. There were these launching things. That brings us to the fourth one, where he went on to do a very popular film, but never took it to the level like the other directors had in the past.
True. I
And-
like Delicatessen as well.
But that came before
Oh,
Alien
did it?
Resurrection.
Okay.
Yeah. So did City of Lost Children. The
Oh.
only movie he made of note after Alien
Was
Resurrection was
Amelie.
Amelie. Yes. And I don't understand that choice for him to direct that film. I've seen Delicatessen and I have City of Lost Children, and I still do not understand the choice of getting him to direct the film.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked him. It was certainly a different choice, you know.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to act like I don't like when they take chances. And his style is apparent in the film. If you've ever seen his other movies, his style is there. His style is not the problem. The problem's really not the script. I think the casting is off for Alien Resurrection. I think that
The problem is Sigourney Weaver.
the Sigourney Weaver part just doesn't make any sense. Like, she has no motivation.
And she interjected too many ideas into the plot that probably didn't make any sense. Like the sex scene with the alien, like she had too much influence.
Yeah, and they never, like, from what I read is that she pretty much did the film. She loved the idea of her going in there and burning up the old failed versions of herself. And she also got paid $11 million to be in the film. And that was a substantial chunk of the budget. And she also demanded to be an executive producer. And it was the first Alien film to not be shot in England because she didn't want to travel. So at this point, our film is hinging upon an actress. And I think as soon as you do that, you turn over some of your creative integrity. And a lot of the film, it just shows that they were just trying to make another franchise film. It is it does have some fun stuff in it. The underwater sequence is really cool. The CG aliens don't really look bad. No. They look pretty good.
They look pretty good.
But like I said,
underwater,
building the gun out of your wheelchair is fun.
That was cool.
You know,
how much do you love the hidden handguns up the sleeve with the robotic arm trick?
I don't
never
mind.
seen it before.
Unless you saw Taxi Driver.
Or every movie
has that been done?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't dislike that scene. I didn't like that guy.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he was very, like, none of the, and Josh Whedon wrote the screenplay. So the man that went to make on the Avengers, wrote the script for this. And he said that there are rumors that a lot of the film was changed from the way he wanted to do it. He said it's not true. He said his script was mostly unchanged. He said the problem was the execution of his script. The actors were not playing it like it was written. They were playing it serious when a lot of it was written to be tongue-in-cheek and kind of like these supposedly these characters were sort of a prototype for him to go on and make Firefly, because you have this crew of people on a ship and they're all kind of very different, but they're mean to each other, but they like each other, and that dynamic wasn't played up properly. And the director did some things that compromised some of the, I don't want to use the word comedy, but lighthearted things that he put in the script. Yeah, it's just kind of a meh. It's not like bad, but it doesn't make me excited either. It's kind of like Predator 2. It's like watchable and got some cool stuff in it, but it's like
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. But that brings us to maybe one that we'll debate a lot about is Prometheus. So, has everyone seen Prometheus here?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Me and Brandon saw Prometheus in the theater together. I don't know what we were both expecting, but I can tell you that a few years ago, I made a commitment to just lower my expectations for everything almost all the time. It's just not worth, you see a lot of people online and people just getting upset about movies, and it's at a certain point you get to an age where you're like, I don't give a shit. If it sucks, it sucks. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to stake any of my emotion on a film
how many
anymore.
times can you be floored? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Is there a limit to that?
Yeah, we can all point to those times where we were like blown away by something, but it still happens. When I saw The Guest this year, I was just like, I was floored. I loved it. It was awesome. But okay, Jonathan, why don't you start with Prometheus? What you were expecting and what you got?
I don't remember what I was expecting at this point. On the whole, it's a very, very entertaining film. It's very watchable. I went back and watched it last night because, we were debating about it. And it's gorgeous. It looks so good. The designs are great. But man, is that plot not so convoluted and really makes no sense a lot of the times. The reason, the motivations for Michael Fassbender's character to put the DNA in the drink, that makes really no sense, why he would do that.
The curiosity of a robot is not enough.
Or
doesn't make sense, really.
But see, I loved his character in the beginning. When he's watching Lawrence of Arabia and doing his hair, I'm just like, oh, I was ready for that movie at that point. I was like, this is going to be so good.
Yeah.
People were getting all up in arms about this origin story of humanity, and that didn't bother me. What bothered
my favorite part.
Yeah, what bothered me is that it just didn't make sense when they're actually on the ship. Why the old man lied about his death to begin with? Why does he have to lie that he's dead?
That's true.
It's that doesn't change anything. Mm-hmm. You don't even need the scene in the beginning of them finding the cave markings in Isle of Skye when you've already. You can easily establish that in the next scene when they're like, here's why we're here. We found all these across from all these different continents,
Right.
Really just the whole plot of why they're actually on the expedition is never totally clear. It really never makes sense.
That's true.
But it looks awesome. And it's fun. The music I really enjoyed the second time around. The music really stands out. Mm-hmm. I think on the whole it's very entertaining. I'm not disappointed with it because it's better than Alien 3,
Yeah.
so I can't, knock it for that. But the plot is really messed up, I think.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there an extended cut of this?
I don't know. He usually does have director's cuts of most of his films, but
Maybe it'll come out.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one been released or not.
I know that there are a lot of deleted scenes that make things make a little bit more sense. I'm wanting to say I thought I had an extended edition of that movie.
Maybe.
I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I've seen it in the theater once and seen it at home. But go ahead, Brandon.
Here's the thing about Prometheus. You think about the protagonists in Prometheus. They're looking for answers. They want to find out why we were made, who made us. And that's what Prometheus is about. It's like the audience, who are the aliens? Where do they come from? What's the point of them? But we don't find anything but death. And that's what the characters find in the film. They travel all across space to find death. Ridley Scott's not giving you any answers for why the aliens were created or who they are or what they were. They're just death. They're the unknown. And I think that's what the point of that film is. It's like you want to find out what's the backstory. I'm not going to give that to you, There is no backstory.
That's true.
That's death. And that's what the characters go through too. They expect to find God. They expect to give us reasons, and they find nothing but death and destruction.
So it's like they said, hey, let's make a prequel to Alien. We want to know what that stuff is in Alien.
Why was the ancient pilot, what do they call them?
Space jockey.
The space jockey. Why were the space jockeys there? We're not going to give you any answers for this. We're just going to give you death. I think that's kind of what the writer Damon
Lindelof.
Yeah, and Ridley Scott were kind of going for us. There doesn't have to be an answer for everything.
And his original script is out there on the internet, and from what I understand, is a lot more detailed and has a lot more backstory. And I don't know if it was Ridley's decision or the producer's decision, but they trimmed a lot of it out. And Brandon, if you would touch on one of the original things and ideas that they had about one of the engineers, or what are they called? Engineers or architects?
Engineers.
Engineers coming back 2,000 years ago, and we killed him.
Oh yeah, it was Jesus.
Yeah.
It was Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting idea.
That Jesus was an engineer.
That in the film, that ship is crashed on that planet, but its mission was to be sent to Earth to kill us. Am I correct? That's where that ship was headed, and that was supposedly going to be headed to kill us because we killed Jesus, but it crashed there first
because we
and Jesus was sent
Christ.
by them.
Okay.
I
Well,
thought
in
that
the
was such a
movie,
cool-
maybe that's in the script, but in the movie, the ship isn't crashed. It's just a colony there where they were growing the aliens in those tubes.
Okay.
And they were going to still send the aliens in the tubes to Earth to kill.
Oh, that's
kill
right.
everyone.
That's what it was then.
But-
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
didn't
it
crash.
wasn't it hadn't
Well,
crashed.
maybe
She crashed. They crashed the ship into it, so
Right, so it wouldn't go to Earth.
or whatever, so it wouldn't go to Earth.
But
yeah.
I think that's an interesting way to think about it, is because we always look for answers in our lives, and what are we here for? And there's not always an answer, There's
Right.
not always a why or who are they? What did they do? Sometimes it's just gritty. It's gritty life,
Yeah.
It's death. It's death and destruction, and it is what it is.
It's the opposite of the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Instead of giving you what you want, it takes that and says, no,
No, we're not going to give
I'm
you.
going to
any
give you
answers.
that.
This is
We're going
death
to create
and
more
destruction.
questions
Yeah.
because it's such a convoluted story that you're like, you could think about it. That's why I like it, because
Yeah.
a movie that you think about days after you see it, to me, is always one you want to go back and rewatch and discuss.
I
and
agree
think
with
about
that.
it.
Now they're making a Prometheus 2. Was that decided before they made Prometheus 1?
I don't
Or
think
was
so.
that basically after the uproar of like, this movie made no sense? They're like, maybe we'll make some answers in the second one.
Well-
What is the point of Prometheus 2? Her going to all these other colonies, I guess?
From what I understand, the film didn't make a ton of money. It didn't make what they wanted it to make. It did good, but I don't think it did nearly as good. So I think that sequel may have been greenlit because of the online discussion. There was so much talk amongst internet people and online movie enthusiasts and debate about the film that it was like, this Prometheus now has a life to it in its name.
Yeah, it came retroactively almost.
Almost, yeah.
And I just looked up, and Ridley Scott refused to do an extended cut or a director's cut. to
Okay,
release that.
so there isn't one. Oh, it just must be deleted scenes that I
Yeah.
saw them.
I've only seen it once. It was about 3 years ago, I guess. And I think my initial reaction to it when I first saw it, I think I even talked to you about it, is I was disappointed because like they finally get like the space jockey or the engineer back, and like they have a chance to talk with him, and just starts mowing folks out.
Whoops, everybody.
And I'm just like, damn it, I wanted to hear what he had to say. And I think that's what it is like you want these questions answered, because I think in our personal lives or in the real world, the where do we come from, why are we here is such a core question. And it's like, well, if I can't get that answered in real life, I at least want it answered, in something like this. And it doesn't. It's like, damn, is there ever a place you can go where this is gonna like?
Well, it's interesting because it is a selfish journey to try to find, and the selfishness is, well, the engineer's going to tell me about me. He's going to tell me why I'm here. He don't give a fuck why you're here.
I mean, that's like when Wayland, he says, "Give me the secret to life. Give me the secret to everlasting life." He wants it. And he gets killed.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give that to you.
And it makes sense, because if you think the engineers crafted it, it'd be no different if one day we perfect artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. We don't have to explain why we did it or what.
And they've always played with that, and they do in Prometheus a lot as well with Fassbender, with David or whatever.
Right.
It's like, well, you can't feel that, can you? And you see like his anger about it, because it's like,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that guy treating him like kind of not bad, but just like less.
Just
and
dismissive.
David, just Fassbender did such a great job of conveying emotion without showing anything other than just like a head turn or just a look that he gave that made you think that robot is so much smarter than you.
Mm-hmm. But I cannot think of a movie that I've seen recently that made me want a sequel more than that. Not from a sense like you see a Lord of the Rings movie and it's like, when's the next one to come out, because this was great and I want to see how. It's just like there's so many questions. I need a sequel to resolve some of these things, and I'm sure it'll do the same shit, and I'll be left with all these other holes. And
well, it's him again.
Good,
I mean, you want more David. You want to see what is David going to do when confronted by the engineers and the architects.
And you didn't even need the alien like showing up at the end.
I loved it though.
It was cool.
I loved all the little stuff. Like my favorite part, and when I saw this in the theater with Brandon, the C-section scene where she has to get the alien thing out of her, I said, I have got to show Rachel this, because like Rachel had a C-section and it's like this weird kind of feeling, and then like you see it in the movie and that machine's doing it and it doesn't really pull any punches. Like it cuts it open, pulls it out, and the most ridiculous thing, of course, is that she got a C-section and then she's like running from a rolling spaceship 30 minutes later, and that's ridiculous. But you look past some of that stuff. I really felt like it was a breath of fresh air in the science fiction art department. It was beautiful. The spaceship was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I try not to get caught up in the little ridiculous things in films anymore, like used to. It's like, oh, that can't happen. And there's a lot of that in Prometheus. Like, for one, a spaceship shaped like a horseshoe falling from the sky and then rolling over end without falling apart.
Go sideways.
Or what?
Go sideways. They're running straight as it's rolling at them.
Yeah.
Just go sideways.
Yeah. It's just little things like that are in a lot of movies,
Right.
but you try not to get caught up and just think of the big picture.
You have to sympathize that everybody involved wasn't like a physicist or, understands trajectory motion.
Well, I'm not a scientist, but like, there's the scene.
Like, really?
There's that scene where they're talking about the big blue engineers or whatever, and they're like, their DNA is an exact match as ours. We come from them. We're the exact same. I don't know. They're like 12 feet in blue.
No, it's science, dude. Science shit. Science shit, dude.
Hairless
Science.
and
You guys wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand some science shit.
What was the point of the ornateness of that fire axe that she used at the end of the movie? You notice how like detailed it was?
It
and
was,
How it's curved.
Curved. What was the point of that?
I don't know. In the
It's
future,
future
that's
shit, dude. It's
That's
future.
That's
stuff.
what fire axes in the future
It
look
could
like,
just
man.
be purely aesthetic. That's all it's for.
No, it's cool.
To look cool.
Yeah.
Which sometimes that's fine. That's all.
That
Hey, it
sums
looks
up
cool.
sums up the Hobbit right there. It looks good. It looks cool. I like everything looks. So okay,
I think it's fair to say we're all excited for Prometheus too.
yes, a
Regardless
sequel
of our
will be
feelings on
there,
the first one.
and definitely watch it with an open mind.
The Revenge of the Alien, Prometheus 2.
Starring James Chin.
What in Prometheus 2, they show how they also made Predator.
Yes.
And then they bring in AVP
Damn.
If Lance Henriksen's in it, I'm down.
That's what I do like about the third one when old Lance shows up at the end there.
Isn't he supposed to be like Mr. Whalen?
He's the head of the
Utani or whatever.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next topic for today. I saw this on a website and thought I would bring it up to you guys. Legos. So in our next coming garage video from Brandon's, there's some Legos that were there. And I know a lot of you guys were fans of Legos. They're putting out a new Lego set coming pretty soon based on The Big Bang Theory, the TV show.
Off the TV show?
What?
Yes.
How does that work?
Thoughts?
What does that even mean? Like the minifigs
Yeah,
will be...
are you gonna build their like apartment?
Yeah, what I saw was a prototype, and it was the apartment with all of them sitting there.
Okay.
I don't get the like Legos are all about imagination.
I know, that's what's terrible about Legos now.
And I nothing against the sets, but like, you know, you make something that then you can play with. You know, like two spacecrafts, you build those, and then you're gonna, you know, fight them against each other when you're a kid. If you're just building like a set of something that you think's neat,
Right.
you don't really do anything with it past that point.
And let's be honest here. I mean, I know that a lot of adults enjoy Legos, but Legos are primarily for young people, for children. I mean, that's when I played with Legos when I was a kid. I didn't watch sitcoms, adult sitcoms, when I was a kid.
Yeah, that crossover.
Well,
is not
that's
really
the thing.
There.
I mean, that sums it up. Okay, you've got us born in the 80s, and we like things from that time period from when we're kids. Are we the first generation to make those things a legitimate? We still buy them. We still buy things associated with our childhood.
Yeah, I bought a Lego set yesterday.
Okay.
I put together a little Formula race car, a little Formula One car. It was like $20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we
But
still
I want
play
the one that's $140.
Right. Well, you've got this year alone, the Ninja Turtles movie. I mean, that's coming from back from we were kids. Majority of people that saw that are going to be our age. Oh, you didn't have to be.
The
You can
G.I.
say
Joe
kids
movies, the
G.I. Joe,
movies.
Transformers. We still give money to things from when we were kids. Are we the first generation to do
It's that riding the nostalgia train, and I think we might be because so much of it can stay around. It's like so many things I think from other people's childhood just kind of got lost in the ether. You grew up with it, you remember it, and then you just forget it. Now it's accessible again. I was thinking after we did the garage video, I was thinking when we were doing that, there were these little die-cast military toys I used to play with. And they sold them in sets of 3, so like you'd have 3 VTOL aircraft or 3 helicopters or 3 tanks. And in the 3 packs, one of them would always be slightly different. Like it was like the leader of that. And then you had big fortresses, big vehicles. And I was like, what was the name of those things? They were really high quality. Like I thought they were European.
Yeah, because
right. Well, I mean, sorry, but like all the figures. No, listen. The reason I say is like all of them are like die-cast metal and like look like they're hand painted almost. And it turns out Kenner put them out. They're the same company who did a lot of Star Wars stuff, who did the Aliens figures, but their set's called Megaforce.
That's Megaforce.
And I talked about one of my coworkers. I was like, "You remember these things?" He goes, "Oh," he just flipped out. Holy shit! Me and my brother had all these. We're looking up. Yep, had that. Yep, had that. And it's like you can relive those moments so much with the internet,
right? And you can, and maybe
and repurchase them.
I have a lot of friends, bands that are like recording on cassette now and selling.
And vinyl's coming back so big
well,
too.
that's been yeah, but the cassettes are coming back even after the vinyl. Now
that doesn't make any sense though, because
no
the cassettes don't sound good. The vinyl sounds good.
Yeah. Vinyl has like a warmth to it. Like cassette is just like
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's Polaroid instant
I've got a cassette player in my car, so I'm ready to rock.
Tape deck.
Maybe
reverse, bitch.
Maybe our generation, this generation just before us, it may be the first one where this kind of stuff comes back so strongly. But I mean, didn't they make a Flipper movie like in the 90s or something?
Yeah, Elijah Wood and Crocodile Dundee.
Successfully done is the difference.
This is the difference.
Flipper wasn't a blockbuster. Transformers is a blockbuster. Ninja Turtles is a blockbuster.
Oh well, they've always played on old IPs that people know of. That's a go-to move for producers. It's like if something's built in, let's go Addams Family. You know, they were pulling from stuff. Flintstones movie. You had all this stuff in the '90s that was pulling from these older things, but it seems like now it's moved into Okay, Target, for example, has a new section in all of their stores. It's called like the Collector's Corner. And what's in there is the Game of Thrones action figures, some Breaking Bad action figures, some of those pop vinyl like Boba Fett and Star Wars, those little mini mugs, that Goonies action figures. Okay, so they're like, the toy section ain't just for the kids no more.
And I think we're kind of one of that first generations where people have started to embrace nerdiness in the past decade or so.
Well, they found out that those mugs will spend some money.
Well, that too, but I just mean as a society, like, people aren't embarrassed as much. They're not trying to hide it.
I mean, you can look at the success of Game of Thrones. I mean,
right. Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, The Big Bang Theory you just talked about. Like, nerdy things have become...
Yeah, one of those things is quite like the other. Big Bang Theory is a piece of shit. Unwatchable garbage.
But like...
Are any of y'all fans of that show?
I haven't seen a lot of it. I don't think it's that bad.
Get the fuck out of here. That show sucks so bad. It's retarded. It's so stupid.
It's just typical. It's very forgettable.
Yeah, it's bland. Just, Star Trek. Oh, it's funny. He's a nerd.
It's playing into the nerdiness thing, but it's overselling it way too hard.
That cat that's in that show should have never left Roseanne. He should have ended his career.
Just took his checks from Roseanne. Oh, you forgot he was on there?
Yeah.
That's all I can see when I see that show.
Well, I'll tell you what I see. Just a bunch of people, once again, banking on that. Oh, it's nerdy. It's funny and nerdy. Yeah, nerds are funny. And it's like, yeah, but they're trying to like make them lovable and it's so not funny. I've never seen
they're not the 4chan nerds
of it.
We love them.
Where are those?
Don't talk about them. They might come looking for us.
I think I have an explanation for that. I think
you like unfunny shit.
Well, maybe that's true. But no. Because I've never seen enough. I'm not a huge fan or anything. I've seen it and it's watchable to me. I think it's in line with like a Friends or something.
Which is garbage.
Right, but we used to watch it. And
I used to do a lot of stuff.
Right, but I think what it is for people who are kind of mainstream and they think nerds are funny, nerds are cool, and they've jumped on that kind of thing is like, these are what nerds are really like. For people like us who are really nerdy, we know the real nerds, like, that we would watch and make fun of on YouTube, like the Chris Chans and shit like that. So when you know that people like that...
He needs his own damn sitcom right there, dude.
You know when there's people that are really out there like that...
Well, they try to make that guy like that. They try to make him real... He's damn near autistic, that one mug on the show who's just goofy as all get a Sheldon. He's a real popular one. And it's like, I've seen stickers on people's car with him, and I don't get it. Like, what's funny about this dude? He's annoying. I just don't get it.
He's different.
If you knew him in real life, you would never want to be his friend.
that guy.
You would hate him.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think about right there.
To me, like a show that...
It's like, he's funny on the show, but if that guy was your roommate, or you would want to murder them.
To me, okay, the show was sort of like an answer, and they've tried to do this. There's a British show called the IT Crowd, and I thought that was really good and did make me laugh a lot, and it had like varying degrees of nerdiness, but I think that's what they were trying to get, because NBC tried to launch it, and it was one of the worst. They tried to do an IT Crowd here in America, and it was god-awful. It had Joel McHale.
Oh,
really?
Oh, it was such a failure. I don't even know if it went past pilot stage. And, okay, Richard Ayoade came to do the American one. So the guy that was in the British one came to do that one. It was a horrible... I heard they're trying to reboot it again. But I felt like Big Bang Theory was them trying to, like, take that. Okay, you have a girl... Because, you can't... They've introduced a female nerd into the show now. But when it started, it was those four guys and this girl who's not a nerd. And, you can't have a nerdy girl. And it's like... It's just garbage.
But people don't understand the difference between nerd, where people can be fully functional in society and be a cool person that people like to be around, and also nerdy.
That's what you consider yourself? That's your category?
I would hope so. I would hope to think that I'm functional out there amongst people, but also have, I'm into video games, I'm into movies, I'm into cars, things like that. Very much butt sex. Only with midgets.
Don't say those kind of things. We're
family.
PC. We're a PC podcast here.
Focus on the family.
Yeah.
Dr. James Dobson's focus on the family over here.
So, but getting back to like the toys and it becoming acceptable.
No, I want to talk shit about the Big Bang Theory. That's what this is about. I don't give a fuck about Legos. We're talking shit here.
I wanted to talk about Lego.
I know. Y'all want to nerd it up and start putting Lego dicks on each other and do all kinds of crazy shit. Okay. Next up, the new Star Wars. We're not going into a lot of detail. We're going to save that for an episode, but they announced the title of the film. The Force Awakens.
I have an opinion right away.
Go ahead.
Well, of course, our friend Chris.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. He is one of the biggest Star Wars fans as far. He gets on the Force.net every day, I'm sure still. When the prequels
Multiple
were
times
coming
a day.
out, he was all over the Force.net.
He loved those prequels.
Chris V?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, really?
He's diehard.
know that.
He used to
Don't
get
tell
mad at
nobody,
us
though.
in high school.
Oh.
Because we'd go to Walmart.
He was buying the toys.
And the
up.
new figures were out for the prequels. And we're like, Chris, the new figures out. And he'd walk away from us.
He didn't want people to know.
Embarrassing him.
Yeah. He used to call.
Chris.
He used to call, and if you didn't answer, he would leave a message on your phone, and he would say, "Lord Vader, rise."
Click. But so he's always been my spoiler source, whether I want it to be or not. He'll just throw texts out there spoiling shit, and I'm like, please don't ruin. I'm like, when does this movie come out again? He said December next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't take 13 months of your ass doing these little text updates and spoilers. But he told me the title, and I don't like the title.
Okay. Why? Valid reasons.
I don't know. It just
Sounds like a porno. The Force Awakens.
There's just something
in my pants.
I don't know why I don't like it. It just seems middle of the road. It doesn't seem that compelling.
Return of the Jedi's less middle of the road. A New Hope is less middle of the road.
I'm probably not excited about it because there's so much unknown. But maybe when it comes out, it doesn't matter what the title is. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
That's kind of how I am. I'm just going to wait till it comes out
And
and go
I'm
see
trying
it.
to not spoil
just see what,
as much as possible.
I can't just get and read all this crap
And
about
that's
it.
all
when
Chris is doing, and I'm gonna kill him. He
like,
sent me a picture of one of the
photo
Sith guys.
J.J. Abrams posted.
Yeah, but he's like, let me
Okay.
tell you something, dude. JJ's got an entire team, a debunking team out there, just spreading disinformation, so people don't know what they're seeing is
Good
real
God.
or not.
The other title released was Star Wars Boba's Back.
Jar Jar and them.
It was just called It was Lando yelling from the.
I like how
Starlight.
he's coming up. Wow!
Star Wars.
A little higher. No, what I like is that Chris is out there like, dude, they got a disinformation team out there. It's like Star Wars 7 was an inside job, man. It's like Jesse Ventura needs to get on this shit, dude. What's the truth?
What's the Ron Paul
Need a
angle
truther.
on this?
Star Wars truthers are gonna be. But no, he sent me a picture of like one of the new, I guess, Sith Lords or whatever, and the dude had like a long sword
That looks so fucking stupid.
with a
The
hilt.
the guard, the hand guard was lasers. It wasn't made out of steel.
So you have a long sword, you have the handle, you have the pommel, and then
It was like
the
two
hilt
little
across
laser
there.
beams coming out. What is that going to do other than cut the top of your hand off?
Right.
What if the damn sword can be a laser? Why isn't it a laser?
Why
The
is it
actual sword part.
Why is it the handle
Oh,
the
it
laser?
is. It is.
The whole thing's a laser, but it has
It's
a laser
saber,
hilt.
and then like the cross guard, the hilt is
Right here, like you hold the sword like this, like the T.
Yeah, but if your hand goes too high, it'll just singe you, burn.
Like that piece is a hand guard.
I can't believe that's
for
real.
when people
I don't
slice
believe
it,
that's
dude.
real.
I doubt it's real.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, that
It looks like
stupid.
a-
And Chris was like, dude, there's a disinformation team out there.
JJ's on it, dude. He's spreading all kinds of rumors. He said Jar Jar was going to be in
there
it.
is, though. I hope there really is a disinformation
It looked
team.
like
probably
Revan.
is.
It looked like Revan from the Knights of the Old Republic.
Uh-huh.
And because he had this face mask on, it looked like some concept
Where
art.
the hell is here? He is right here.
Okay, let me see.
Look, how would you not
Bring it.
burn,
I can't see it. Slide it over here.
How would you not burn your hands off with that?
Oh, I see though that there is like metal. That doesn't look like it's necessarily protecting his hand because the metal. There's metal where his hand is, and then the laser.
purpose of that piece on a sword.
who would you cut
It's
with that little laser,
It's
though?
for two things. It's to protect when someone
Slide.
lock sword sliding, or
Right.
it's to prevent blood from running down in your hands with a real sword, so they don't get all wet and you drop your sword.
Well, I don't know, but it's not quite what I imagined when you told me. It looks dumb though, but
Well, that was the point. Have you seen it, John?
I don't think it's real. I don't think
it could. It's probably not real.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get wrapped up in spoilers. I just want to see the movie when it comes out. Because who knows what type of stuff all these Star Wars
I'm not watching any of the spoilers. I just thought, they came out this
big movies
week.
become
And,
less
shout
appealing
out
to me anyways.
Star
I like
Wars
smaller films.
Underworld.com. That's where that one was from. So.
Star Wars
Get right-
Underworld.
Yeah, get right on there.
Yeah, cool. So next thing I want to talk about was something Jonathan brought to my attention this week, and it's a new program coming on the Discovery Channel entitled Eaten Alive.
Oh, I heard about this.
Did you hear about this, Brandon?
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Before.
Let me tell you. There's a guy who is a microphone on my face. There's a guy. I guess they're going to the Amazon looking for the anaconda. He's going to get in a suit and let the snake eat him.
Oh,
Idiot ass.
now specify. It's a snake-proof
It's a snake-proof suit,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll be pulled out of the snake's mouth without harming the snake. But Jonathan brought up a good point. Why not just put a camera to a damn rabbit?
No, that's not as good. He needs to be a person.
He
who
needs
can
to tell you
relate
how
the
it felt.
experience, right? And here's the thing. You're going to pull someone half their torso out of an anaconda. It's not going to hurt the snake. There's a reason that snakes' teeth are curved. Because things go in one way. They're not supposed to come. You'll probably rip all of the motherfucker's teeth out.
He don't need no damn teeth.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity
and
now.
as one of my favorite things that Ricky Gervais said, they're called constrictors, not holy gobblers.
Yes.
Which means, is he just going to go munch on this dude who's still alive with pig's blood on him? They're supposed to cut him in pig's blood to make him appetizing. He's still a living, breathing person.
Generally,
the snake is going to choke him out first.
Usually they kill you.
How are they? They always strangle someone
Obviously
to
not.
death.
They shot the show.
How does
The
that
show
work?
is done. They have a trailer for it.
How did
They
they
show him laying down next to the snake, like poking it.
How did that not get like a pat? How did that get past like the PETA and the?
Oh,
PETA's very
up in
upset
arms.
about
PETA's
it.
up in arms about that.
PETA's very
But
upset. I saw an article
how
today.
do you make the snake?
Like, I give a fuck what PETA thinks.
Right.
Like,
I
fuck
know,
PETA.
seriously.
But
But
still,
how do you make it
assholes.
go against its instinct of strangling its prey before it digests it, before it
give it
ingests
some
it?
kind of muscle relaxers or anesthesia or something. I don't know.
I mean, he's just gonna go. There's a dude with pig's blood that's really big. I'm just gonna start swallowing him.
He didn't even want to eat him. He's sitting there. The snake's laying there. Dude rolls up on him. He's like, "Hey, dude, I need you to eat me." And the snake's like, "I just ate, man. I'm not hungry. Let me in your mouth."
Honestly, that sounds like one of those people that have those weird like gore sexual fetishes about people getting eaten and stuff. That's what this sounds like.
What? Explain more about these.
Like I think gorish. I don't know.
They
what
get off on seeing gore.
people like getting eaten by snakes and animals and stuff. Seeing
They
women.
get off on that.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I know that there. I've seen videos of guys that are into women going in quicksand.
Right, that same kind of thing.
What?
Women being eaten by snakes or eaten by animals. It's a sexual thing. And
Are there
also,
any videos? I mean, where could you find if
Most of it's
if
going
you
to
were
be.
looking for these videos, Brandon? Where would you go to find them?
I don't have any good resources for that,
Do
but
they accept most major credit cards?
I'm going to say you can find those on the deep web.
On the deep interwebs.
The deep web.
You got to go deep to
That's
find
the dark web.
I found this video of a woman being eaten by a small owl.
She came out in pellets. That science classes later dissected.
Would you guys watch this program? No. Brandon says no.
I don't have Discovery, so
I don't
watch
either.
it.
I don't have cable, but I would find a way. But I would have to click through it because what it looked like
That's
to
a
me.
total YouTube clip. That's not a
That's
TV show.
exactly.
That's,
That's not a 30-minute show. That's
probably an hour. It's
I know.
probably an
They're
hour.
going to have so much build up to it.
It's probably 2 hours. It's 2 hours, and for an hour and 45 minutes, they're going to talk about the snake suit, him getting into the snake suit. He's got to take a dump in the snake suit.
Here's what I want. I want the just fast forwarding of the snake actually eating him and then pulling him
That's
out.
why
And him
YouTube
dying.
is so great.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Snake eating.
Yeah, if he died, that'd be awesome.
I want the guy to die, and then I want to have all the crew that was there shooting it, and the producers.
I want the crew to then eat the snake and just like.
There you go.
Chop him up, dude.
I love the snake-proof suit almost as much as I like bear-proof suits because I've seen a lot of
They
good
have
YouTube videos. Oh, I know, and the YouTube videos. I remember one of my favorites was this guy had a bear-proof suit on, and they were testing its effectiveness, and basically like drove into him full speed with like a truck. It was like a truck with like a mattress taped to the front, and just rammed him with like a full mattress, and he went like 30 feet and just
He's
got
flying.
right up.
He goes
Apparently,
flying.
bears charge you.
They will do.
Yeah, like a pickup truck. It's pretty similar.
Well, Discovery Channel, I think, is
lost their mind.
Running out of
TLC
material.
was the first one to go. The Learning Channel became Honey Boo
The
Boo
reality
and Pageant
channel,
Mom.
yeah.
It became the Lobotomy Channel.
From what I understand, the Learning Channel was government funded until like the early 90s, and then it was cut. And as soon as it was cut, they started putting garbage shows on there. So that's the argument when people say politically, you know, PBS, government shouldn't be giving money to PBS. PBS shouldn't be around. It's going to turn into another TLC, dude. Gonna have Honey Boo
That's what
Boo.
people watch.
Swamp People's going to be on damn channel.
That's really
Swamp People's
discouraging.
good. Don't put that in that same category.
No, it's in that same fucking category. For all that stupid fake reality shows.
I do like Hoarders, though.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I don't see anything fake about Hoarders.
Right.
that's
That's
a
what I mean.
real-ass
Hoarders and intervention and shit like that.
What's fake about Swamp People? They're just hunting some alligators, dude.
Yeah, they're just setting up scenarios each week of shit they wouldn't normally do for a TV crew.
Have
It's
y'all
real.
seen that? Have y'all seen the motherfucker that looks for the Sasquatch?
It's a whole show about a
They used
Sasquatch
to
hunter?
make fun of him on the Soup all the time, and no joke, like he'd be out in the woods, just this big, long-haired motherfucker. He'd be sitting there talking, and he'd be like, "We're looking for the Squatch today. I happen to know for a
Going
fact
squatching.
some of the Squatch's favorite food is bacon." And he would just list foods.
Duh.
And he'd just be out there with like a whole like pan full of bacon, crunching on it throughout the. And he's like, "I know the Squatch will love this batch." Like I remember seeing a clip of him a year later. Dude put on like 60 pounds.
He is
so
the
never fought the Squatch.
He's now become the
Yeah,
Squatch.
he just became it because the dude, all he is just eating on the show. He just eating snacks and bacon and shit. That's all the show's about. Look for a Squatch.
So, well, quick derail here. Speaking of Squatch, I think Sasquatch is the most plausible that he could be real.
Right.
Of all the things that they say, he's the most likely.
No, Atlantis.
Chupacabra.
Atlantis definitely, because I've heard a lot of people talking about that. You know, they've never found it, but there's all kinds of records that speak of something that.
Oh, there's plenty of underwater and buried civilizations. I mean, the Library of Alexandria was real, and
It burned though, didn't it?
I think it
Well,
was
there's a
maybe an
bunch of-
earthquake.
No,
It was
it
maybe a
burned.
fire earthquake.
No, it caught fire.
But
yeah.
of the 7 original wonders, only one's around still: the pyramids
Me.
and you. That's the modern world.
My-
But like that, you know, I've seen shows about that where apparently the Romans had perfected concrete that was set underwater, like even way back when. So you
Yeah,
had-
but do they have real proof? Did the Romans have real proof of Sasquatch existing? That's the true question.
We need to consult with Lenny about this, about the Yeti of the
Did that
Himalayas.
now in China? What is it? Is it the Yeti? That's what they call
Yeah,
it.
well, I don't know what the Chinese word is, but I think
I
they
mean,
do
there's the
have.
Wendigo and the Yeti and the Sasquatch.
So you don't think it's real?
Well, there were some.
That could very well be.
There were some pretty good episodes of Inspector Gadget that covered this.
Here's the thing: the Sasquatch could absolutely be real. Has anyone ever really captured?
Hell no.
Maybe a couple, but there's so
A lot of people believe that footage is real.
Now here's the thing that's interesting. Think
What
about
footage?
A lot of people
The
think
one where he's
government
walking
did
through the woods, the
9/11.
most famous Bigfoot
Yeah.
footage of all time.
Okay, this right here though.
That's
look.
not real.
There's a ton of legitimate people that believe it's real, even though one of the guys involved with
came
it
out and-
came out and said he faked it. They
Yeah.
still believe it's real.
Wait, this right here is going to change everything. The fact that everyone walking around has a camera on them.
I've heard a ton of people saying that they can smell that and they can smell
That's
you.
fine, but I'm talking about, think about, the Sasquatch might be the most legitimate. Think about things like UFO sightings. How
No,
big that
that-
shit was in the 90s.
and
Now
it's
that
gone
everybody
down.
has a camera in their
It's gone
pocket,
down.
what's happened?
Nothing.
Hardly anything.
Well, yeah, you don't see any new alien videos popping
How
up.
about Nessie? What's up with Nessie? They fucked themselves there because they restricted it to a single lake. I mean, you could survey a lake. You'd be
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Sasquatch could be in the wilderness throughout the globe.
That's true. I hope he's real.
Why not? It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, they found, you know.
I hope he's like Harry and the Hendersons, though.
Yeah.
I showed that to
Friendly.
Veronica.
I think John Lithgow is the only one they can find.
I mean, they're still finding like big mammals.
And
like,
big, like, droppings.
Well, they have bones of a Sasquatch. It was a giant ape, and it was in China, and they have his bones, and they can put it together and show you what he looked like.
I
He
mean,
walked.
We found fossils and I mean evidence of so many of, you know, mankind's, you know, ancestors, common ancestors with man, or I mean they found a pygmy type people,
Yeah.
you know, on an island, and it was just they lived a few thousand years ago.
I mean,
Right.
if you look at somebody like today, you can see like the genetic descendants of that in people like Hillbilly Jim, for example. I don't know if you've ever seen him wrestle.
Hillbilly Jim.
He's definitely
He's a hell of a guy,
Sasquatch.
man.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan as well.
Hillbilly Jim was a good guy.
He was
boy.
a good one.
Meet him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So let's get to the main topic today. That we watched a video before.
Oh, this is the main topic.
Main topic.
Well,
Ooh.
it'll be the last. This is the last topic I have.
I got 2 words for this one.
Okay, so a few weeks ago when we were at the
Praise
riff tracks, I saw a poster up that looked like Last Action Hero 2. But upon closer inspection, I realized it was Kirk Cameron swinging in to fucking save Christmas.
Yeah.
And the movie's called Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. It is a movie coming out this year that you can see the trailer online for. Check out the poster too, because it looks like Last Action Hero, but it's Kirk Cameron. A little bit of backstory. Kirk Cameron was a teen actor.
Growing
He was on
Pains.
Growing Pains.
Show me that's my love again.
And he
Alan Thicke's still big.
We all watched it.
He does
Yeah.
reverse mortgage commercials now.
He does. Yeah, his son's not giving him any of that money he's making. So he was on those shows. I guess he said that he was tempted with drugs and alcohol and indulged in those things while on that show. And then at a certain point, I'll give you a hint, his career fucking died. So he had to find something else to do. And he found that Christians are real susceptible to be celebrities, especially like, what's the Baldwin brother who's real Christian? He's the one who
Michael?
commented
Michael?
on Billy Baldwin or
Brandon?
no.
I can't remember, but I know.
But the thing is, they don't have a lot of popular media directed directly at their beliefs.
Well, you'll find a celebrity who has nothing to going on, and if they show up saying that they're a Christian,
John
they
Wick.
can make a career out of it.
Yeah. Kirk Cameron definitely has.
MC Hammer.
Yeah.
They probably were Christians
I think
before.
MC Hammer was before, yeah.
Then to make a career out of it though, and to make all that money, and Kirk's sitting up in that house, you know, I'm sure he's got a nice house, nice family, good amount, but I'm sure he's paid well. He's making a damn movie, Saving Christmas. When was the last time you felt that Christmas needed saving?
Right. If anything, they should make a Saving Thanksgiving or
Saving Halloween.
But especially Saving Thanksgiving, because I heard some poll the other day that 80% of Americans are in favor of stores not playing any Christmas music and not putting out Christmas merchandise until after Thanksgiving. 80%.
Yeah.
And what do I hear this year? Kmart and Sears, they're starting Black Friday sales 6 a.m. Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
Fuck your family. Get to shop.
Go to Kmart.
Go to work.
Yeah, get to shop in America.
Hope you don't have a job.
It's so discouraging.
And here's the thing: Christian religion hinges on one day, Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is the day that makes Jesus more than a man. He becomes back from death.
Right.
But that's only one day. We don't have 6 weeks of lead up to Easter.
Right.
So
Right.
If you
What was
want to
that?
say that we
Passover,
need to
whatever.
protect and enshrine a day, it should be Easter, not Christmas.
Well, that's okay. The first thing I thought before I even watched the trailer, when I saw it, I said, "There's so many." Like in his house, in the trailer, you see the tree. You see that there's all these pagan traditions
Right.
that have nothing to do with Christianity that are associated with Christmas in America. And then he brings that up in the movie. That guy, whoever the hell that
that
guy
was
is in the car,
surprising,
jaw
bringing up
jacking.
all that thing.
He's saying, "Well, it's mostly pagan." Da da da. But the thing that got me in the trailer was when he said, "People are wanting to say Happy Holidays or Season's greetings," whatever that means. Now, let me tell you what it means, Kirk, okay? It means that maybe not everyone in America is a Christian. Maybe not everyone, even not speaking of angry people such as myself, maybe there's some Jewish people out there. Yeah, they've been here for a while. They have a religion that goes back a little bit longer than yours, I believe. No, fuck them. Merry Christmas, bitch. It's ridiculous. Kirk Cameron is the epitome of everything I hate. I cannot stand. He is making money off of stupid people thinking how pious and humble his bullshit is.
But what is the big thing behind that? It's the fact that people love to piety is such a big deal. People love to be downtrodden and oppressed and act like that there's this war against people. Like, it's so hard to come out and be a Christian these days.
There's war on
We live
us.
in the South, in the Bible Belt. It is not hard at all to come out and say you're a Christian.
On this
here.
one little road that we're on, where your
Yeah.
office is at, where we do the podcast, there's like 2 churches,
Yeah.
and the road's not even a quarter of a mile long.
Yeah. They're
Okay?
just in buildings that aren't built to even be churches.
Oh.
People meet in our local movie theater here and
Kmart's.
conduct churches.
Old Kmart's, old strip mall
They
churches.
take over any. If you abandon a building, there's a church coming in. They're like damn cockroach. They're gonna get in that building and take it over, and they got no money.
Well, people love that oppressed.
Yeah, we're
lifestyle.
oppressed.
And there's a
Like saying Merry Christmas.
is oppressive.
Yeah, or saying Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
That I'm oppressing you.
Yeah.
You know what you hear come out of my mouth? Jack shit. I don't say nothing to nobody. I don't say Happy Holidays. I don't say Merry Christmas. I don't say nothing. So to me, that's more oppressive than if someone said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Happy Holidays." You know, growing up, I guess it makes me more angry because growing up, I grew up in a Christian house, and my mom would say things like, you weren't allowed to write Xmas or even say it. And when people did, and she saw other people write it, she would get mad. She said it was taking Christ out of Christmas. And that's exactly what the tagline for this movie is: putting Christ back in Christmas. Did he really? He's named after his name is in the day.
Right.
But if you look at the trailer, what is he doing in the movie to bring Christ back into Christmas?
Dancing.
Hip-hop
He was
dancing.
hip hop dancing with a funny black dude,
Right.
who was being so stereotypical of his being a black Christian. Can I get an amen, y'all? Who the fuck is it? Medea in the damn movie?
Right.
That shit is so stupid.
Well, what it is it's the exact. Okay, everyone's so afraid to offend these days, and everyone's looking for a reason to be offended. And then you have all these movie stereotypes that have been done. I mean, Disney does it. You have the Latino character and the black character and the redneck character. You have all these stereotypes that are played into, and then people love to be offended by stereotypes.
Yes.
And this is doing the exact same thing. It's just like any other movie. It's taking all these stereotypes, the black Christian, can I get an amen, and all that kind of stuff. But it's not really. It doesn't really have a different message.
It's not different at all. They're trying to be funny.
Right.
And there were so many things that they were trying to be funny that were they hurt. They were so unfunny.
Right.
Did you see that there was a picture that was taken on the set of Jurassic Park of Steven Spielberg posing next to one of the Triceratops? And someone posted it on Facebook, and people were up in arms that Steven Spielberg shot and killed a Triceratops.
That's what we're dealing
They
with.
believed it was a real photo. They believed that he had killed it and that was posing next to it for a photograph.
It's almost like you can't even get away with sarcasm anymore or satire because most of the populace is too stupid to get it, and they're just going to get up in arms about it.
The special effects of 1994 have convinced most of America.
Hey, they hold up, dude.
That's a testament to how well Jurassic Park holds up over the years. But I think that what annoys me about this movie is that it's creating a problem that doesn't exist.
Right. To
And-
make money for a select few
To
people.
make money for a select few people, and the people are going to eat it up, and they never see what they're doing.
They never see that they're being taken advantage
They're
of.
making it for us. Finally, they're making a movie. Ernest Saves Christmas wasn't enough. We need fucking Kirk Cameron coming in to save it. Ernest wasn't able to do it. So Kirk, he's coming in, saving Christmas, and I think we should do a Can You Take It of all Kirk Cameron films.
I can't.
How many are there?
I don't know.
He
One
did all
is, I
those
mean-
Left Behind ones, didn't he?
He's in the first
Yeah,
one.
the
You know,
guys-
okay, do you guys know they remade Left Behind this year with Nicolas Cage in it? And it was the lowest performing film of the year. So I guess I shouldn't say they're taking all their money. Obviously, they were smart enough to avoid that piece of shit. But I bet they didn't want to go see it because it had Nicolas Cage in it.
That's-
If Kirk Cameron would have been back, they would have gone to see it. They want us. It was made by the cinematographer, or no, I'm sorry, the stuntman from like the Indiana Jones movies. Directed this movie, the remake of Left Behind. It was supposedly the worse than made for TV movie.
We should watch that one.
We should find it, and why I'd love to watch it. Nicolas
Hey,
Cage.
I'll watch anything with Nicolas Cage.
I know, me too. And
He's so funny.
when he's doing Left Behind stuff. That's classic. That's good stuff. So, I guess we've gone on long enough. That's all my topics for today. If anybody, I know none of y'all motherfuckers brought any topics, so we'll just close the book on that. Hopefully our listeners were able to take it.
And doubtful. We lost a lot of the Kirk Cameron faithful at the end there. We're in trouble.
But I guess that kind of wraps up the podcast episode 3. I really do sincerely hope you could have taken it this week and stuck with us, and we'll be back. We do these every other week, so in 2 weeks we might shift it up. We've got some scheduling things, but we'll get them coming out, and we'll talk about more topics. Just to let you guys know, we've got some Lord of the Rings and Hobbit stuff planned, and some special Star Wars episodes coming up where we discuss Kirk Cameron. So we'll see.
And we're also going to be starting up a video game.
Yeah, me and Adam and Brandon. I think if you want to, Brandon, if you care.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan's not as big of a gamer, but definitely Jonathan's got to be there for the game videos.
Yeah.
Because the classic games, Jonathan definitely knows about classic games. But I don't know if he wants to bullshit about all the news and newest games coming out. So me and Adam are kind of thinking about just doing some gaming podcast stuff, but we're also going to be doing some gaming related videos. Some Can You Take It gaming videos where we try to find some really bad retro games and
It would be nice if
play 'em.
Dustin could appear for some of
Dustin probably.
these. Hey, Dustin, I know you're listening.
I don't know that he's listening.
he
I
hasn't listened
I don't
to
know
any
that
of
he's
He
listening. to any
probably
of them.
won't listen, but I would like to engage in a flame war with him if he would come
If
out.
Dustin would get on the podcast, you guys would hear a lot more debating. That is for sure, because there's some differing opinions, I believe, among some of our members, and Dustin's taste in gaming and his all-around love of episode 1. So
I love how that's always like the watermark for.
Which I will say I think is the best of the prequels.
save it for another day, man. Save it for another day. All right, thanks for joining us, and for Brandon, Jonathan, and Adam, we had a good time, and we'll see you guys next time.
We love you, Kirk.